Hey guys, today I want to take a look at the Fusion Core. I've always been wanting to try one in the trails, and I've always been worried about the thermals because you take a motor, it's getting hot, you add a controller that's even hotter and stick that in there, and I expected that it can only be worse. And the results were actually crazy. The Fusion Core with the Thor 400 in there performed better than the Canon Core in the float wheel. So let's go take a look. Okay, ATR works. Seems good. All right, see ya. All right. Yeah. All right, so I am on a Fusion Core. I've been wanting to test this. These are Patrick's boards, one of our local guys. He is a master builder that we have in SoCal. He's been helping Cameron with his boards and building a bunch of batteries too. So he's been building 3 Fusion Cores now at least. And I've always been curious. My biggest suspicion about, or my biggest fear with Fusion Core builds was that they just wouldn't hold up in terms of thermals, and I was always skeptical. But Patrick is a heavy rider, he's a super aggressive rider, and he can overheat just about anything, and he doesn't have problems with the Fusion Core. I mean, of course he will overheat it too, but he would overheat any other board in that situation as well. So I've been wanting to try it out, and so let's see how it performs on the climb here. Now, I did start with 100% charge, and this is a 32S1P battery in here, and it's doing okay. I'm only hitting 134. I'm not braking too hard, I'm just going down slowly, but it seems fine. I think I'll make it down without getting the voltage too high. Also, he assured me he turned off the high voltage tilt back, and if I keep it gentle, I don't have to worry about the 142 volt cutoff, which is, in my opinion, too close to the limit for a 134 volt board, but I'm being careful. So the worst would be to do a fat burnout and make it stop, so I have to be really careful not to do a big wheel slip on the way up. Alright, almost at the bottom. Voltage is starting to get a little high, but we made it. Alright. Cool. Motor barely heated up. MOSFETs are warmer than the motor, which kind of makes sense. The whole thing sits inside the motor axle, so all the heat goes straight to the controller. Basically, there's no cooling for the controller. The motor is the cooling for the controller. All right, temperature 72, not super hot, but okay, let's go. Luckily, we got the BTG Thundercat on here, so that should have plenty of grip for making it up the loose dirt here. Speed is negative because he set up his board wrong, so that's something that only will affect you if you have to worry about ghosting or trying to enable reverse stop. You would basically not be able to go forward. But the Fusion Core is actually symmetrical, meaning that the battery compartment in the rear is not heavier than the compartment in the front because that's also a battery compartment. So both are about the same weight, so the board is perfectly level, and you wouldn't really know where is front and where is rear except for the foot pad sensors. So we're climbing up the hill and it's doing great. Now, of course, the Thor 400 is heating up a little faster than you would normally expect when it sits in a controller box in the front, because it is actually not the MOSFETs heating up the Thor 400, it is the motor heating up the MOSFETs. But as long as everything together still stays in an acceptable range, then who cares, right? So far it's looking really good. It has only climbed to 44. Yeah. Board has insane amount of torque. Temperature is barely budging. We're at 45. Now this board has a Canon Core V2 in it. There's no cooling liquid in it. Patrick did experiment with the liquids, and so he did notice that it helped, but it does make things messy. So he's been trying to avoid it, and now we'll basically have one of the best results here. Wow, it's doing amazing. I've not even hit 50. It's climbing still, but it'll be like just over 50. Yeah, it's 50 Celsius now, which is, what's that in Fahrenheit? It's 123 in Fahrenheit. That's insane. It's so good. 51. Yeah, I can probably do a second one just fine. And the second climb was only 61. So we could do probably another 2 or so climbs here before we would even hit 80. And for reference, Future Motion lets their motors go up to like 92 or something. So this is crazy. Very impressive. Time to go. Board is fully balanced. I only know this is the front because of the blue foot pad. And let's go and see how it does. Oh, I forgot that since I power cycled it, it lost its settings. That would have been fun without ATR going down there. All right, ATR should be on because Patrick rides this with the remote, so he has ATR off, but the last thing I need is another thing in my hands right now. So yeah, let's go down this. Feels nice. I didn't do any tuning. I just applied the same tune that I had on one of my older BTG boards, and it seems to work fine. Motor seems more noisy than the other one, but yeah, this board has it all. 32S 2P, the Thor 400, and Canon Core V3. This motor is still completely dry. There was never any fluid in it, and I just talked to Patrick. The fluid that he was putting in was not the ATF fluid that Tony was talking about, but instead he put what, in my opinion, is the right fluid to put in. He put in ferrofluid, and that obviously did help. And this is also one of the reasons why I think that his Cannon Core V2 motor that I rode up in the previous run performed so well, because even though he said he drained the ferrofluid out, the thing about ferrofluid is it sticks to the magnets, so you can't drain ferrofluid out of a motor, which means that the part of the ferrofluid that's actually doing 90% of the work, that's giving you most of the benefit, that is still in the motor. So that is a Cannon Core with ferrofluid still filling up all the gaps between the magnets, and that's what made it so good. So yeah, so this one here, no fluid, still bone stock, and we'll see. I expect that one to heat up more, partly also because the V3 motor in my testing performs less well than the V2 motor in terms of heat. So it has the N52 magnets on it, or maybe N56, whatever. But yeah, that is at least my experience with the V3 Cannon Core. So motor is warmer now than the other one was, but I don't have the patience to wait for it to cool down. The thing with the motor, cooling down a motor takes a long time. And if you add thermal mass to it, like we did with the Fusion Core heatsink, it heats up slower. But that also means that it cools down slower. So yeah, it would probably take a half an hour sitting in the sun for it to come down to like close to 30 Celsius. So we'll just start with it being at 40, which is still a good comparison, and we'll see how it does on the climb up. The tire on this board is the GOAT. This is not a BTG build, it's a 6-inch standard size tire. But yeah, this is the only section almost skidded out. Now I also have to say that the temperature outside is not as hot as it was in some of my other testing, so that does make it a little easier on the boards, but at least close enough to get a baseline and get some data on this motor. But yeah, so far it's doing great. Phone is getting hot from the sun, so I have a hard time seeing the screen right now. What does it say? 56 maybe? Ooh, but the GOAT is definitely more slippery than the Thundercat. The Thundercat crushed this climb. There was not even a hint of skidding out. Even that did pretty well. There we go. 61 right now. It's probably gonna climb to maybe 63. So even that did pretty well. I noticed the tire was not as grippy as the Thundercat. Even though, I mean, the goat is supposed to be good, but the Thundercat was noticeably
that's a soft compound.
It was noticeably grippier on the soft dirt. Yeah, so now I'm at 63. MOSFET's at 57.5. So alright, I'll do one more run with it.
Yeah.
Looks like I can definitely handle it. Alright. So, here's our second run. We're starting off 54. The goat tire is noticeably less grippy than the Thundercat, so I definitely have to watch out more for skidding out. And to the usual naysayers who are like, this hill is unrealistic, and why are we even bothering with that? That's not how people ride. Just this week, we did a group ride with 19 people, and we went up a hill. Yeah, it wasn't a ski slope like this, but it was just as steep, and it was even longer, and it was single track. And yeah, most people were walking. But of course, the VESC people, all the VESC riders, they made it up, even though some overheated. But yeah, these are the kind of mountains we have all over Southern California, and those are the kind of trails that we have to deal with. So this is actually perfect test for it. I think my drone is going to run into a bush right up there because I have to get fairly close to the bushes. That sucks. Thing is gonna crash and we're gonna lose the drone. Here we go. Oh, it's already. Come on, buddy. Oh, it sees me. Yes. Nice. Recovered. That's cool. All right, let's go finish this. But yeah, it's doing well. Even on the second climb. Alright, let me just summarize this now. Both Fusion Core builds can easily handle my Torture Hill and hang with my float wheels and get almost as good thermals as my Superflux builds. And needless to say, they easily outperform GTS and GTXL.
Taking the GTS series as a baseline, 50% more torque than that. So
that means your motor also heats up faster if you use that extra torque. But I can get more into that in a separate video. And what's crazy is that the 32S1P BTG board is not heavier than a GTS XL despite having more range. So that's pretty epic. I'm just really impressed how this whole setup works, and it seems that the Thor 400 literally absorbs heat from the motor. I also realized I never mentioned Stanley Shaw in all this. He's the Australian wizard behind all this. Watch his videos, super entertaining and informative.
This one sucked after building it once, so already completely back to redesigning the whole thing. You're lucky that none of you had to deal with that, so you're welcome.
And he's got a website where you can buy his stuff too. He ships worldwide as far as I know. Alright, that was it. So yeah, pretty much all my concerns about temperature in the Fusion Core have been blown away by this test. The only thing that's still holding me back from building one myself is complexity and cost, of course. Those things are not cheap. I'm on the lighter side, so I don't need that range. Range doesn't do you much good if you have no other friends that can keep up with that. So I don't need it, but if there's more and more people out there that have longer range boards where my basic 18S2P board can't keep up, then maybe I'll consider it. But until then, I'll leave it for the heavy guys. But yeah, I'm definitely convinced that Fusion Core is a viable approach and definitely not less capable at all. In the contrary, it really works well together and frees up all the space in the two boxes in the front and the back. So yeah, if you got the skills and the money, go for it. All right, that's all. See you guys.